Hold that right up against them.
So what we're doing right now is we are getting the posts measured, dug, and leveled and filled in with concrete.
I gotta do it again because it was twisted. Hold that. So make sure you hold the arms.
Alright guys, so during the complete build of the woodshed, we mix all of our concrete in a wheelbarrow and use a hoe to mix it. We have done that with every project that we have started here on the farm and completed. So, interesting fact, a Massey Ferguson 3-point hitch is not a good tool to be using with an auger.
We made one.
So we gotta dig that out now. Go ahead. I dug the last.
Alright guys, so now we have the majority of the poles put in the ground and they are all braced up. We currently have the first row completely in concrete. So now we're working on the secondary set of poles, getting concrete mixed and poured in. And then once the concrete sets up, we should be able to get started on the next portion. So braces are off. The studs are on top of the roof, so it's 2x4 studs, and right now we are placing 2x4 wall studs. That way we can do the ship board up onto the outside of the woodshed. And right now they are cutting and measuring each individual board and screwing them in to their places onto the frame of the woodshed. Just a little bit of information on the frame of the woodshed. It is all treated lumber. On the 4x4s, the baseboards are all treated. Now, the individual 2x4s that's going on the sides and on the roof are not treated because they will be covered with the shipboard and also the tin roof that will get put on. The stack of wood that we're getting into right now has all been cut on our sawmill that we have here on the farm. Each one of these boards were individually cut down to the size we needed using the sawmill, which is a Woodlands mill. We have a video out right now about the Woodland Mills and us cutting up some of the logs. All the logs that we used to cut the boards were processed off of our farm. When we had our pond and that back section over there in the back view of the camera was cleared out, and we kept all the big trees that were worth keeping in order to turn around and make lumber out of them. So all these pieces right here are 1-bys. And Christian has a video out there with him cutting up logs.
Our family farm.
All right, so what we're doing right now is we're going through and laying the boards up there, and Adrian is marking the boards as they're placed in a certain position. And then once that is completed on this one side, we're going to start cutting the boards and tacking them on there. Now, all the boards are going to end up getting put on with long framing nails. Um, we want to keep it as natural as possible on the woodshed. Um, that's the same way we did the chick and coop build, and all of our newer buildings that we're going to be building is going to be done the same way. We're trying to keep it all symmetrical. One thing I do want to add though is once these boards were cut, they were layered with a 1 inch gap in between each stack to where airflow would get in between the boards and help dry them out. We did not check the moisture content on the boards. Again, we're building a woodshed, so the moisture content really wasn't a big deal. One thing I do want to say is hammering in nails by hand, it's hard work. It's tedious. I did have quite a bit of issues with the nails. Anytime that I would hit a knot in the board, the nails would bend sideways, looking right back at you. You hit it the wrong way, it would turn or twist. So, using the nails, building this entire thing to put on each individual board, it was a pain, but it's worth every sweat and smacked finger. All right, so now one side of the building is done. So we're going to go ahead and continue on to the framing of the second side of the woodshed. We're going to do this all the way around to the corner and all the way to the top with the framing portion. And then once we get that done, we're going to move on to put in the sidewalls back on. I'm good on my end if you are. Now that the siding has all been placed up on the three walls of the woodshed, we have moved on to cutting and placing up the cover strips on the top and the bottom of the 2x4s, which covers up any marks or blemishes on the bottom, as long also on top of it, to where you don't see where the nails and boards meet. It's been a long project from start to finish so far, so let's keep watching and see what happens with the finished product. All right, guys, it's time for that roof to get put on. So the sheets are 10-foot long metal sheets. They're hunter green, and what them two are doing right now is placing each individual sheet on to where we make sure that the roof is squared. I did forget to mention that at the top of the woodshed, we did go ahead and put, I think there were 2x2 braces across all of the 2x4s to offset the sheet metal on to where there was something to tack the sheet metal down to. And there are three rows, one at the front, one in the middle, and one at the very back. So now that the roof has got put on, it's time to see what the finished product's going to look like.